What is going on, everybody? All true believers, welcome to the Maximum Marvel Podcast, episode 2. I feel like we didn't explain enough the last time that I put out the first episode that we did. We didn't really explain what this show is. We're going to go, this is the last time that you're going to see this uploaded pre-recorded. Every other time we will be going live to talk about these subjects so that you guys will be able to, sound off what you think. And then, of course, the clips will be uploaded throughout the week as such. But no, we're just two dudes who wanted to start a Marvel podcast and kind of just threw out the name Maximum Marvel, and it stuck right off the bat. So me and my guy Justus here are going to be talking about all the nice little superhero and nerdy things that you guys like, and they will be uploaded in clips throughout the week so that if you did miss the show, you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. So that is going to be a plus on that. But last week we started off the inaugural episode talking about What If episode 2. Justus, we'll let you get your intro out there, say what's up to everybody, and then tell me, what did you think about What If episode 2?
What's up, everybody? Justice General here. Man, I really liked it. I was a really big fan of, what they had to put forward in the second episode of What If. I know that there was a lot of speculation that it was going to start slow, but I was really excited about episode 2. It's one of those things that kind of make you disappointed that it's only a 30-minute episode with the whole What If series, but it's very interesting to see how they'll set up for the future in MCU, because we know that, for instance, in Multiverse of Madness, we're going to get a Captain Marvel. I'm sorry, not Captain Marvel.
Captain Carter
cameo, at least, right? And so we also see like little clips in the trailers of What If with Doctor Strange and Captain Carter. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they jump from the What If series and push it forward into like the MCU in the movies. But as far as episode 2, man, it was amazing, from just seeing Wakanda in the eyes of, a kid from when T'Challa was still there, and then seeing just the influence that T'Challa would have been able to have on the entire universe had he actually not been in a bubble that is Wakanda, because we know he was a great leader for Wakanda, but it really seems like had he been afforded the opportunity, he would have been a great leader for the entire galaxy. So I was really excited. I feel like they did Chadwick very, very well. It was really good to see. How did you feel about it?
Dude, this episode was by far so much better than last week's. One thing that I really didn't want to see go on throughout this series was them just being like, oh, here's a Marvel movie that we did, and here's a couple of roles switched, and we're going to retell the same story.
That's what I started to think.
Like, I didn't want that. So when I was like, is this just going to be Guardians of the Galaxy with T'Challa being Star-Lord? Like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but I wanted something a little bit different. And man, dude, the whole episode was just so good. And one of my favorite things to see was actually T'Chaka being in the Black Panther armor while he was talking to T'Challa as a kid. I love that just because, I like them showing the lineage of the Black Panthers. I think that that's something that's really awesome. There's a lot of stuff to like about this episode. There was a couple of things that kind of took me out of it, but I gotta say that this was so different. Like, just taking the concept of, okay, they didn't pick up Peter Quill and they picked up T'Challa, like how different things would be just from them kind of recreating the opening of Guardians with, Star-Lord stealing the thing. I think it was a little goofy having the dude who usually gets Star-Lord, being like a fan or whatever of like T'Challa. Yeah, like
I thought that was cool. That was one of my more favorite parts.
I thought he was kind of cool as comedy relief, but I was just like, they took a character that was kind of like, and then they they kind of made him a little bit campy like that. But a lot of stuff to like about this episode, a lot of things that are different, lots of things that kind of push the envelope forward just for what they could do storytelling wise. This felt more like a what if than the last one did. Just kind of like this one was more interesting and engaging. So I liked it a lot. It's much better than episode 1. I one of the big things that it kind of just got me at the end was that this is the like we saw Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa again, and that's kind of like that kind of like hits you a little bit because I know you've said it, Black Panther was one of the things that got you interested, just like the movie got you interested in the Marvel stuff to begin with.
Yeah.
So, kind of seeing Chadwick do it again and just show why, he was T'Challa in the universe. I've been somewhat critical of the Black Panther movie, like not like some people think it's like the greatest movie, and I still think there's some problems with it, but I think it's a really good movie. Um, I really loved it. Chadwick Boseman is like T'Challa, and this episode was absolutely 100% better than episode 1. I don't know. Do you have any problems that you found with the episode before I go into mine?
Well, real quick, I just want to talk about the impact of kind
Go
of
ahead.
T'Challa on the universe. I think it is really cool because I feel like I see what Feige and the rest of the guys are trying to do with this character. I feel like they opened up the multiverse, and with the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, they got to kind of figure out how they were going to move into the next Black Panther with tact, and not
Mm,
just be irresponsible with it.
yeah.
So I feel like they're gonna kind of they're making him like the savior, right? He changes the entire universe. He
Mhm,
makes Thanos the good guy. He stops Nebula from being disassembled. He makes Yondu a good person. Like he does, everything. He changes hearts, and I think that they're going to end up having him as a sacrifice of some sort at the end of What If.
mhm.
And I think that that's going to be, I don't know. I know we've seen Killmonger with what we assume are the Black Panther powers.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's coming. So I'm excited to see that. Was there anything I disliked about it? I wasn't really watching it to really like critique anything. I guess
Yeah.
I was more so watching it, and I was just excited because it was good content. Like the
Mhm,
first week I was just really bored. I just quite personally just didn't really care for the first episode. It just wasn't my thing. Like
mhm.
nothing against Captain Carter or anything, just the episode was a little boring to me.
Yeah.
But this episode was full of, man, when I saw Josh Brolin's name on the credits, when before I even seen Thanos step in,
Mhm.
I was like, Josh Brolin, the guy who plays the
Yeah.
Collector. I don't remember his name. I'm not going to try to say it because I'm going to say it wrong.
Benicio del Toro.
Del Toro. Yep, I
Yeah.
saw his name, and I was like, wow, okay. And so we got some heavy hitters in this episode,
Yeah.
and it didn't disappoint. We got to see Howard the Duck. That was pretty
Mhm.
cool.
I
Um,
never looked up actually who voiced him, so while you're going, I'm gonna
Howard the
find
Duck.
that out for yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see, how and it was pretty cool to, see get a a close up look at the collector's collections and just his whole operation as a whole.
Mhm,
And also it's interesting to see how talk about how, remember when He Who Remains was talking about, you take away the guy in charge, what fills
mhm.
the void. Same exact thing happened here with Thanos not there anymore to be the super evil villain baddie guy. And
Yeah.
then you have the Collector kind of come in and just get all this power from, I'm not sure where, but he had the Black Order at his side and
Mhm.
minions all around. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, both of my problems that I have with this episode just kind of revolve around Thanos. One, I understand it's a what if. I'm just saying, like, it kind of made me not take it as serious when I was looking into it because when I watch these shows, I'm like, okay, I'm fully invested. One of the things is just kind of Thanos joking like that they had a conversation and that's kind of what changed it. I'm like, the Thanos that was set up in the MCU, I hardly believe that anybody could have had a conversation with him and had him change what he was actually planning and thinking to do. Also, I kind of like that he joked that it wasn't genocide because it was random. I thought that that was a funny joke that they threw in
And
there.
efficient.
Yeah. And then uh when it came to the Black Order, I didn't like that when Thanos was going to go, Nebula was like, "You can't do it, like you're going to die." Like I'm like, "That's
This is
Thanos, man."
Thanos, right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
"He's about to go murk the Black Order." Like what are you
These
talking
were
about?
his minions at one point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like he's about to go absolutely take them out. And then of course, I would kind of like to know how the Collector got Cap shield, Thor's hammer, Hela's like helmet and stuff. I would kind of like to know how that happened. That'd be cool if that was ever explored maybe in a season 2, if they ever returned to that universe. I think
sure.
that I think that's the good thing about having a season 2 is that they could return to these universes, especially with the cliffhanger that they throw at the end of that episode. Like that was something. And spoilers, if actually no, we won't throw spoilers in there, but there's a really good cliffhanger that's thrown at the end of the episode that makes you go, oh, they gotta be returning to this.
You don't
uh
want to talk about that?
well, I want to, right?
I
But
mean, I
then
figure
again,
everybody should have seen it by now.
yeah.
Especially if you're watching this, I feel like you
Yeah,
probably
if
saw it.
you're watching this, you've probably seen it. Okay, so Ego goes to a Dairy Queen
Mhm.
where Peter Quill is working, and pretty much the Watcher's like, okay, and then it's gonna set up events that lead to the end of the universe. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so awesome. That's another what if. It's like, what if Peter Quill, actually joined up with Ego? Like that would be awesome. I hope they do explore that. That'd be awesome for them to go do. One of my big things is, what did you think about Chadwick's performance? Obviously, he's going to be, I think they said 4 more episodes of What If
Yep.
he's in. Whether it's as like as a side character of T'Challa or in the main focus. What did you think about Chad's performance? Because I thought he was absolutely he killed it.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. The entire episode, just seeing T'Challa's influence was phenomenal. And you know what? I kind of think that, remember we saw the shots of the Avengers assembling for the first
Mhm.
time, and then we saw the what if version where you had like
Yeah.
Captain Carter and T'Challa, etc. I kind of think that's what they're setting up, right? The first couple episodes are going to be about each person individually, and I think eventually they're going to have to come together to solve some type of problem. I'm not sure if it'll be the Collector or
Mm.
maybe Mephisto or whoever it might. I'm not sure. The Collector, or I said the Collector, or Ego potentially. I mean, probably, since
Yeah.
what they said at the end. But yeah, it's really interesting to see what'll happen. I'm super excited.
Dude, I think Chadwick absolutely killed it. I mean, God rest my man. He was an awesome actor. I remember after Black Panther dropped, I made it like a mission to watch more Chadwick Boseman movies. I completely forgot that he was in 42, the Jackie Robinson movie. I
Yeah,
have that movie on my shelf because I love that movie so much, and it completely just, bro. I was like, oh shit! Like I loved almost every movie that he's in. That he kills it, and especially in this, I absolutely loved it. I think Chadwick Boseman is probably going to kill it in every other thing that we see, until it just kind of makes you sad that we're not going to get a proper Black Panther 2 and see like a proper send off and all that stuff.
yeah.
That kind of, it's kind of a somber note. But the question is, what do you guys think of What If episode 2? Make sure to let us know down below in the comments section. Maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. If you didn't,
And what didn't you like about it?
yeah,
If you
yeah,
didn't,
what didn't you like about it? Make sure to specify that down below. But Justice, one of the things that we have to get to now is Shang Chi, the next movie. We speculated a bunch of delays last time, and of course, one of those delays did come true, and we will talk about that later in this episode. But one of the ones that we said is Shang Chi. was one of the movies that we thought might be the first ones to get the can if Disney was going to delay movies. And turns out, no. Disney's kind of like doing that thing from the Wolf of Wall Street where they're like, I'm not fucking leaving. That's what they're doing. They're going to stay at that spot. I already secured my tickets. I'm going to be there, not opening night, because I am an adult and some nights I just can't get like I'm not going to be able to go on a Thursday night, but a Friday night I will be there to watch that movie. Shang Chi, uh, everything that we've heard, good movie, really good movie, actually. And I didn't have much doubt about it, but there was some controversy that came up in the week leading up to this world premiere, and that was new Disney CEO Bob Chapek, who is taking over for Bob Iger, who was the head of Disney for a long time. In an investors call, calling Shang-Chi a experiment. And that did not sit well with the guy who is playing Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, going out and saying that they are not an experiment and that they are the future. And a lot of people kind of took this, I think, maybe the wrong way. And I think Bob Chapek probably should have chosen his words a little bit more carefully. But initially, right off of reaction, Justice, when you hear somebody call Shang-Chi an experiment, what does your mind go to?
See, I'm a big context person, right?
Mm,
I like to understand what people mean when they say it. I'm not
mm,
really like a huge narrative guy where it's like, oh, he said something, and then you give like a subset of what they said to kind of
yeah.
twist. I'm not one of those guys, so I didn't hear the full context of what he
Mm,
said. And I'm not here to defend him either because I don't really know what he said, and I'm not going to defend it even if it was something
yeah.
egregious. But to me, when I hear that and I know we're in a pandemic, it
Mm,
sounds to me like, okay, they're an experiment. We're going to see what the movie does when it goes to
mm,
theaters, how much it makes, and if we can continue along this route for a Spider-Man, for a Doctor Strange type of thing. That's what
yeah.
it sounds like to me. That's where my head went. What about you?
Yeah. I 100% think Bob Chapek needed to watch his damn mouth. This is not something that Bob Iger would have ever said as the head of Disney. Uh, Marvel was super squeaky clean. Disney was too, especially, for years under Bob Iger. And now with Bob Chapek being in there, he goes and calls it an experiment, and it's on an investor's call. Some people really, took it the wrong way. Some people, I think, took it kind of in a racial connotation, but I think a lot of things are pointing towards Bob Chapek didn't mean it like that. What the man meant was that he shouldn't have just called it an experiment and stopped. He should have continued to go on where he says it's an experiment. We're going to see what this movie does in theaters under the new model of just going into theaters only, no Disney
So is
Plus.
that what he did? He did say he
Yes.
meant that way. Okay.
That's what came out later of what the explanation was. But what it is an experiment that Shang-Chi is going to come out in theaters, and they're going to see what that does. And if it is successful, they will be able to continue with releasing movies theater only without having to introduce Disney Plus into the equation. So I just thought that that was something that we really needed to touch on before we get into the actual movie. So when you heard that they were doing a Shang-Chi movie, one, I bet you didn't even know who the hell Shang-Chi was, Justice.
Sure
But
didn't.
but when you saw the first trailer and you heard that the Mandarin was going to be in it, what did you think of Shang-Chi?
Well, see, like I told you guys, I only started, being a Marvel fan a couple of years ago, so I didn't have a chance to read any of the. I'm so sorry. Read any of the comics, but like I'm a huge fan of like Comics Explained, so shout out to
Yeah,
him. But he does a great job of kind of explaining everything and letting you
I
know like
love
what you
Rob.
missed out on. Yeah, Rob's awesome.
Yeah, Rob's awesome.
So when I heard that the Mandarin was going to be an Iron Man, I was kind of
Yeah,
expecting what I was expecting, and then
yeah,
that was a bust. So I'm excited to actually see what his full capabilities are here in this movie. And so, let me ask you. I got a few questions for you, Jake.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is he one of those like low key Doctor Doom like villains where you probably see him in multiple movies, or is he like one of those Ironmonger villains where you only get Red Skull? Where Red Skull's in two, but you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Okay, so you're asking me about the Mandarin, right?
Yeah.
The Mandarin in the comic books is like Iron Man's greatest villain, which is why it was such a flop when they did the Mandarin and they botched it so heavily. The Mandarin is a hard character to do, especially in today's society of people are a little bit more sensitive. Uh he's kind of like a racial stereotype. Like he's got the Fu Manchu. He's got like a big evil Chinese guy, right? That's basically what he is in the comics. He's a magical Chinese guy, and he's a really bad guy, right? So when you're trying to adapt that, you can see why they botched that when they tried to they were
Yeah.
like, how the hell do we actually bring this into uh but you could tell we didn't think they were going to botch it because the 10 rings are the ones who picked up Iron Man in the first Iron Man movie. So that was setting it up throughout that whole thing is we thought it was going to pay off with the Mandarin, who is one of those guys like a Doctor Doom who always shows up and is kind of just like he's got magical powers, and if he gets the 10 rings, then he's almost, I'm not going to say he's unstoppable, but just know he's a very, very powerful villain at that point. So with them doing this, that's kind of my little thing that I'm scared for when it comes to the Mandarin is I think that they're going to nerf him in this movie. I think that, Shang Chi takes him out at the end of this movie just to be like, okay, what are they going to do? The things that I liked in the comic books were the 10 rings of power were actual rings that the Mandarin wore on his fingers. And
Mhm.
every single time that the Mandarin got another ring, it felt like, okay, this is getting more and more serious.
Felt like a
So,
Infinity Song.
yeah, it kind of felt like an Infinity Stone, like, oh shit, if the Mandarin gets all these rings, that's going to spell trouble for a lot of people. So, I don't know. They're like the 10
Yeah.
armbands now. Like,
Yeah, their wristband. Yep.
yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I the actor that they have playing him, I've heard really good things about him. I really think that I don't think they're gonna really do the Mandarin justice because to do the Mandarin justice, that's a lot of stuff that maybe they're not ready to tackle, especially with the way that the MCU is going. I don't really see them being like, okay, we're going to throw the Mandarin in there now. And it's like, yeah, but we got Kang in the multiverse now. Like, if you were really going to throw the Mandarin at full power in the MCU, like, you would know that that's the plan going forward. So I think the Mandarin
Okay.
is really just going to be used to set up Shang-Chi. While I think that kind of disappoints me a little bit, I see why they're doing it. So I'm I 100% just to answer your question, like the Mandarin is like a Doctor Doom type of guy. Like he can be
Okay.
powerful when they use him that way.
I think Marvel's pretty good about, taking their more offensive characters
Yeah.
and kind of smoothing them out, like Black Dwarf, from the Black Order, and then
Yeah.
they renamed him Colossidian.
Mhm.
Then M'Baku was like Man Ape or something.
Yeah. Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Man ape, yeah.
but I about oh my god, I lost my train of thought. I hate when it
Just as
happens.
Justice out here, like, oh well, actually, no. Okay, so let's just go back in. So you hear Shang-Chi, you see that the Mandarin's in the movie. What's the first thing that hits your mind? Like, we've heard that this movie's good. I'm into kung fu movies. I really like that. I've heard that it's a kung fu movie with a lot of really, really good action in it and also a really great story. I'm super pumped for this movie. Like when you hear Shang-Chi, he's not an A-list superhero, right? He was
But
kind of
he
a
has
guy that,
powers.
yeah. So I'm definitely hoping to see that Shang-Chi. Everyone's like, oh, he needs to join the Avengers. I'm like, maybe the new Avengers? Like I don't know. I don't know really if he fits in that, but from everything we've heard, the movie's really good. So how excited are you for Shang-Chi?
Okay, so I remember what I was gonna say.
All right, hit
Um,
us.
I'm sorry, guys. Um, I think that with the welcoming of Kang, we're gonna
Mhm,
obviously see multiple Kang
mhm,
variants. I think you're gonna see Ramatut. I think you're gonna see Nathaniel Richards. I think you're
mhm.
gonna see the guy who bought King Enterprises. I think
Yep.
you're gonna see Immortus at some point. I think you're gonna see all of them, right? So I think over the years before we actually probably meet Immortus or whatever Kang variant is the final boss, I think that they're gonna have like a lot of different um villains. And so, for instance, Doctor Doom has to come at some point. We got the Fantastic Four coming. So,
I surely hope so.
yeah. So, my thing is maybe, the Mandarin could be one of those big bads because before we had Thanos, we had Loki and guys
Mhm.
like that who were kind of reoccurring villains. So, from what I hear about the Mandarin, he's supposed to be like that guy. He's supposed to be
Yeah.
like big bad. So I kind of want to see more of him. I want them to do him justice, especially just with the whole thing about Asian hate and everything. I
Mhm.
want them to be represented the correct way on screen.
Yeah, and I think that that was another thing why the Bob Chapek things kind of really blew out of proportion because of all the stuff that is going on with that. Um, no, I could see that going on. I think really the way that they're kind of, so it's not really that mystical to where it's like, oh, it's a mystery of who the like who is this man, the Mandarin? Like it's kind of like, no, he's a crime boss and everybody kind of knows him. And I think there's a lot of stuff that they're getting ready to introduce into it. But I think
Wait, he's a
Shang-Chi,
crime boss? What, like the
yeah,
Yakuza?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
like the Ten
okay.
Rings terrorist organization is kind of like a crime ring as well. So
Oh, I
he's
did
the
hear
he's
about
the
that.
leader of that. So one of what do you guys think of Shang-Chi? I mean, I've got a new topic I'm about to throw out right after this. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned for that clip or watch the whole episode if you are watching this on replay. What did you guys think of the Bob Chapek comments, and also what do you think about Shang-Chi coming out to actually pretty glowing reviews? Make sure to let us know down below. Justice, you just brought it up. Let's talk about it. You said Doctor Doom. This is something that we haven't talked about actually, are Black Panther 2 rumors of things that could also be in the movie. One, I want to get your opinion on what you would like to see done with the mantle of the Black Panther, whether that be finding some way to bring Michael B. Jordan back into the universe to take up the mantle of Black Panther through multiverse shenanigans, or have Shuri take up the mantle of Black Panther. But some of the things that we're hearing that could be in this Black Panther movie are Namor, the Submariner, and also some rumors that maybe there are going to be some links to Doctor Doom. So I'll let you get each of those three opinions off first. When it comes to the mantle of Black Panther, what are you thinking should be the best course of action?
I think with the what if, it's a beautiful thing and it comes at a beautiful time because you can really get away with anything, right?
Mm,
You could go ahead and actually bring back Michael B. Jordan to play Black Panther now as
yeah.
Killmonger. However, I do think that he would be a pretty penny, and Disney has money to spare, to be honest,
Oh my
but
god,
they
yeah.
seem a little squeamish sometimes. So I don't know if they want to pay all that money to have him in the MCU going forward. So I think Letitia right. Zuri is supposed to be
Mm,
one of the smartest people in the entire Marvel multiverse,
yeah.
right? So I think that she could easily become Black Panther. Especially if you take the heart shaped herb, you'll obviously have the abilities to go along with those
Yeah.
genius smarts. I think that she would be a very formidable opponent. So I'm excited to see either one of them kind of go that route. Either M'Baku as well. He's not a
Yeah.
bad, option. I'd be kind of cool seeing any one of those three. I would like
Mm,
to see it be Michael B. Jordan and then pass it on to Shuri.
yeah.
That would be my ideal situation. Um, but as far as the villains, I think we're most definitely going to see a Namor Submariner. Type of. I think he's probably going to be the villain. I don't really see a
Yeah.
cameo situation because they played to his coming forth. Like
Uh,
What movie was that? Was
Uh,
that
a hun-
Endgame?
uh, yeah,
Where at
actually,
the
in
end it
Endgame,
was
yeah.
Okoye and she was like, "Oh, there's something under the water" or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So the big thing in the comic books is the Atlanteans and Namor
Versus
and the
Wakanda.
Wakandans do have conflicts in the comic books. So and Namor isn't really a good guy either. Namor is kind of like a just does what's
Anti-hero.
kind of does what's best for the people and himself.
That's Doctor
So
Doom
I'm
as well.
yeah, so I kind of like well Doctor Doom goes a little way at like
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's doing what's best for his people. I guess you could say Kang is the same way too. He's trying to save his universe at the end of the day. So
I I guess so. But dude, Namor going into my big thing with Namor is I was just waiting to see Disney pull the trigger on it because Aquaman was so successful for DC. I was just waiting to see them go, okay, Namor, the king of Atlantis, or needs to be the king of the Atlantis. Just I was waiting to see them go, oh, well, we also have an Aquaman that we can use, who's actually one of our oldest comic book characters that we have. So actually, I think Namor predates Aquaman, which is something that's crazy.
yeah,
I'd have
I
to
didn't
look
know
that
that.
up, but he's an old character. But the way that they've used him throughout the years, I think if it came to the plot of Black Panther 2, introducing the Atlanteans and Namor is just some other thing. If some threat comes to Earth, it could be like, hey, we've also got the underwater people that we can use as well as the Avengers. So I think that there's a
Namor didn't
lot of
come first, by the way.
yeah, Namor came first. Okay, I just needed to make sure about that. Uh, and also to answer the question that came from a previous episode, if you're watching this, Howard the Duck was voiced by Seth Green, and I could easily tell it.
Yeah.
I could easily tell when I was listening to the voice. I was like, "Is that Seth Green?" Um, but no, Namor coming. I think that would be an awesome villain for them to use. Villain, maybe just like just somebody to war
Antagonist.
with. Yeah, antagonist to use. And I would love, love, love the introduction of Victor Von Doom. I Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is one of my favorite Marvel supervillains of like all time. Like when I'm thinking of like supervillains that I love, it's like Green Goblin, Doctor Doom, and then like Darkseid in DC. Like I love those three characters just for like kind of what they mean. And Doctor Doom is the not only just the foil to the Fantastic Four, but my guy is the catalyst for Doom Wars. So much cool stuff that can happen in the universe. And if there's and I mean they got to set him up for the Fantastic Four sometime because how are you going to make a Fantastic Four movie and not have Doctor Doom be the villain? That's kind
Yeah.
of my thinking of it.
Doctor Doom is literally my favorite Marvel character ever. It's him and then Black
Yeah.
Panther, right? Like my name on Twitter used to be Vic Von Doom, like
Yeah.
literally. Like I love Doctor Doom.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I think that I want to see his storyline. I want to see, you know what? They might actually tie a Mephisto with him. I want to
Mm,
see, the whole storyline of him trying to save his mother's soul and doing whatever he needs to do it. I want to see the whole thing, the whole shebang. I want to
mhm.
see him become, or I'm sorry, I want to see him unleash Adam. No, not what is his name? Molecule
What?
Man.
Yeah.
Molecule Man. I want to see him unleash Molecule Man. I
Mm,
want to see him war with Galactus. I want to see him war with Silver Surfer. I want to see all of it. I want to see
mhm.
him, take the mantle of Iron Man at some point. Look, man, I just if they do Doctor Doom, which I mean, you can't not do Doctor Doom. I want
Yeah.
to do Plus show as well, but I need
Mm,
Doctor Doom in all of his glory because I know they're going to give it to Kang. I would also
mm,
like to see it with Doctor Doom because I feel like Kang is obviously better and more destructive
mm.
because he took over the multiverse for God's sake.
Yeah.
I do want to see Doctor Doom like a step below that, just a step.
I would love Doctor Doom in a role kind of like Loki had leading into the Avengers, the
Yep.
first Avengers movie, where the first Avengers movie that was Loki like I would love for it to lead up to Doctor Doom with the Doom Wars and everything like that. I would love a whole phased just go and build up to a Doctor Doom. That would be
Absolutely.
awesome. I would absolutely love that. But the question is, what does everybody else think? Doctor Doom getting a lot of love in here from us. Doctor Doom, what do you think about that? And also, what do you think about what's up?
Well, you could finish, and then I have a question for you.
Yeah, all right. And then, what do you guys think about Namor possibly being the villain or antagonist for Black Panther 2? And who would you like to take up the Black Panther mantle since, Chadwick Boseman sadly cannot pass it on to anybody? Justice, what is your question?
Okay. Kang has been linked to three people. We know
Mhm.
that Kang the Conqueror, or Nathaniel Richards,
Yeah.
is from the 31st century. Now, he is
Mhm.
linked into heritage with three people. Those three
Mhm.
people, three of the smartest people in the history of the universe: Reed Richards,
Yep.
Tony Stark,
Mhm.
and Victor Von Doom. If you had to guess right now, put your money on it. Who do you think the MCU is going to make him a descendant of? If you had to
A
pick one of
des-
the three.
a descendant of, I'd put a lot of money and say Iron Man, just because that's big cash
That's my
cow for
bet
them.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my bet
like if
too.
I was gonna put money down on it, I would say Iron Man. Um, but would I love it to be Victor Von Doom? Would I love that the castle he was staying in actually be Castle Doom?
That'd be
That he
awesome.
was just staying at there's so many cool things that could have come out of that. Like I originally thought I was like, if that's not Kang, that better be goddamn Victor Von
Vic.
Doom sitting in there. Like
Yes.
I was ready. I was like, if that's not Kang, that better be Doctor Doom. Cause I saw the castle and I was like, that's Castle Doom.
And it was
That
green and
like
purple.
yeah. I was 100% ready for that to be Victor Von Doom. Also, one of my favorite rides at Universal here is the Tower of Doom. I don't know if
Is
you've ever
that
gone.
is that a Victor Von Doom ride?
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah,
that. See, I went to Universal Studios, didn't really know much because
yeah,
I'm too tall for most of the rides, but
yeah.
I would have loved to go to that section just to kind of see, what it
Bro,
was
dude,
about.
that section is awesome. They've got the Fantastic Four cafe. They've got the Spider-Man ride. They've got the Incredible Hulk, which I can't ride because I get very, very sick very easily, and that one jolts you around. But no, the Tower of Doom is awesome because you go through it, and as you're getting ready to go to the actual ride, you walk through Doctor Doom's laboratory and Latveria, and it's got him like on the
Oh,
screen
okay.
talking to you, telling that he's harvesting energy, fear energy, and everything to power the Doom bots. And oh, dude,
That's
it's
cool.
so cool. And then whenever you get strapped in, he's talking to you like you're the Fantastic Four, and he's like, if I harvest the energy from you, the Fantastic Four, you like I will be the most powerful and be able to take. Oh, it's so campy and cheesy, but it's so cool. And then you get strapped in, and then he's like, "So long, Fantastic Four," and shoots you up in the air, like straight up. Oh my god, dude, I
Oh,
love
that's
it.
awesome.
It's such an awesome ride. But back on schedule here of what we're talking about. Things are being delayed in the world of the COVID-19 Delta variant. So there we go. I just lost monetization on this video bringing that up. Um it was originally supposed to come out. Venom 2 was the one thing we brought up a bunch of movies that we think possibly could be delayed last time we came on here. And Venom 2 was originally supposed to come out September 24th, I believe, or somewhere around there. And we said, okay, maybe it's going to get pushed back. We didn't know they had taken the release date off the end of the recent trailer that had come out. So there was a lot of speculation coming to it. Well, then they moved it to October 15th, only a few weeks, down the pipeline. It's not like they delayed it until next year. But the fact that Sony has this in the back of their mind, thinking that, okay, they might be delaying some movies. First off, give me your take on Venom 2 moving back. What's your reaction to that? And, just how do you feel in general?
I mean, it's kind of a sucky situation for,
Mm,
just every studio really. It doesn't really matter what boat you're in. It's a sucky situation with COVID because nobody. I mean, the movie theaters were almost already dying, and then you throw COVID on top of that. It didn't make it
Mm,
any better. So I can understand. They want to make money. At the end of the day,
yeah.
it's about making money, and that's the goal. So I can't necessarily be mad at it, but they're doing what they think is best. I kind of just want the product. I don't care about the
Mm,
numbers and how much money you make. I want the storyline because you
yeah.
shouldn't have made it so good because now we need it, right?
Yeah.
Um and again, I think I mentioned this on the last episode, but it came at a really bad time. Like we just got the two, three highest grossing movies of the highest grossing movies ever, excuse me, Black
Mm,
Panther, Endgame, Infinity War. Um and now it seems like they're in like in prime position to kind of move forward and
mhm.
build off of what they created to go into phase four and make it as good as possible. And it feels like Feige and his gang is ready to do that, but COVID is kind of making everything is setting it back. Like for instance,
Yeah.
the Black Widow thing, how that got pushed. Spider-Man's getting pushed. I feel for them. I feel for us as the fans because I feel like the continuity of the storyline is a bit out of whack now.
Mhm.
Um, but I feel like they've been doing this. They're geniuses. I think they'll get it together and they'll figure out. Even if they have to give us like those little story comics to kind of
Mm,
fill in bridge the gaps.
yeah.
Of a couple things that didn't really make sense. So I think that they'll be able to get it done.
Yeah, you brought it up. The question was going to be, what do we think that this had to mean for Spider-Man? You think that I think that Sony having this in the back of their mind is actually, it's got to be sitting there that everybody, we need to prepare that a push of Spider-Man Far or No Way Home being pushed. I don't know where they'll push it because with Venom, they only pushed it 3 weeks, right? Which makes me think maybe they're still a little bit more confident in Spider Man being that December movie. And if Disney's strategy of having Shang Chi only coming out in theaters works, I think that like 100% that I think that Justus, are you good, bro?
Mhm.
Oh, bro, you look like zoned out, man. I'm sitting here like, is this man just not even moving while I'm talking, bro?
Sorry.
No, I think that it with Spider-Man being in that spot and Shang-Chi coming out, if it works, I don't think Spider-Man moves at all. But if it was to move, you have to believe that Spider-Man is probably going to move drastically. Like I don't see Spider-Man being a January or February movie. You have to think that, okay, when are we going to get the most money? Because if COVID is really that big of a problem for the Spider-Man movie, they might put that out in the summer when traditionally those Spider-Man movies do come out. And maybe they just bank on, hey, this movie's going to come out in the summer. And, depending on what Disney's schedule is with movies, I don't know what movies they have coming out at the beginning of next year. I think we really just know the slate for this little section at the end of 2021. But I think that they're just going to be like, hey, we're going to move it there because hopefully by then the world has COVID figured out again and we can make the most money that we can off of it. But the question is, what do you guys think of Venom 2 being delayed? What do you think it has to do with Spider Man? Do you think that Sony holds out, or do you think that it gets the inevitable push to possibly summer of next year? Make sure to let us know down below. Speaking of Spider Man, Justice, we're sitting here and we're all still wondering, when the hell are we going to get the Spider Man No Way Home trailer? There's so many things that are going on, so many leaks, toys coming out. There's Funko Pops being leaked. Still no trailer. No trailer announcement, no saying, hey, the first trailer is going to be out with Venom 2. Go watch Venom 2. Like nothing like that. But the one thing that is coming up is that behind closed doors at CinemaCon, Sony is going to be showing off like 3 hours of content that they have coming up. And one of the things that they might be presenting and it has been said, is there will be footage of Spider-Man No Way Home at this event. The big problem is CinemaCon really, really good at keeping things under wraps. Like when the first Avengers Infinity War trailer was shown, it did not get leaked out. Nothing
Wow,
leaked out. The
that's
only
shocking.
thing that the only thing that came out, because they lock up your phones, they make sure there's nothing behind those doors. Everything is confidential. The only people that get to see it are the ones that are there. Now, somebody could find a way to sneak something in and get a snapshot, but most likely
Get the
coming,
glasses, the camera
yeah,
glasses.
yeah, but they'll know. They'll be like, "Hey, we don't care that you're blind. Take those off, man." But like the thing that we have to assume is that out of it, people are going to discuss what they believe or what was in the trailer. There will be posts that come out of people that were there that will discuss what was in the trailer. We won't get to see the trailer after the thing, at least what I think. Do you think the trailer will release after that, or do you think they still hold that off and they attach whatever they show onto Venom 2?
I think that Spider-Man specifically, Venom is
Mm,
kind of, oh, I'd probably be irresponsible to call it an
mm,
experiment, but it's kind of like, it's a gauge for how well Spider-Man might do. I don't
mm,
think they can afford to get Spider-Man wrong. They really can't,
yeah.
because they've had the big old argument discussion about whether Sony was going to keep him, if he was going to play with Marvel, whatever. And I think that that's kind of like Sony's, it's their cash cow right now. Like
Mhm.
it's being featured in Marvel. They get the profit from the action figures, I believe it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of profit that's coming in, right? When
Mm,
you consider the MCU Spider-Man. So I don't think they can afford to get it wrong. I think that's why they're being so cautious with it. I think they'll probably give you some teaser, but I don't think they'll feel shy about pushing it back
mm,
at all. I think they'll do it as
mm.
much as they have to try to maximize profit.
Yeah, I think that what they'll do is, if anything, to maximize profits, they will go and say, "Hey, you want to see the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer? It's going to be at the end of Venom 2. It's going to be one of those post-credit scenes. Go and watch the whole movie, and then you'll get to see your trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home." I think that that would make so much money. Like if somebody was just
Yeah.
planning on, I'm not going to go see Venom 2, but you say, "Hey, the new Spider-Man trailer is going to be at the end of," someone might be like, maybe I go see Venom 2 now. Even though if you're a Spider-Man fan and you're not going to see Venom 2 that has Carnage in it, bro, like what are you doing? I mean, obviously casual like MCU fans might not, be that big into Spider-Man, but no, I think that with it coming out at CinemaCon, that there nothing's going to come out. I don't think a trailer is going to come out. We will get a description though of what they show off at CinemaCon, and we will talk about it here. I will make sure that I am able to get those. I'll make sure I get those notes so that we're able to talk about it. But would you believe me if I told you that some leaks have already come out of possibly what's going to be shown? Justice, would you
I'm very
believe me?
interested.
Would you
I
believe me
would
if I broke?
actually.
Would you believe me if I broke it right here to tell everybody what is possibly, according to Paul from Heavy Spoilers, who,
I love heavy
most of his,
spoilers.
yeah, most of his stuff is pretty legit. And I gotta believe that he's getting this from a credible source, reporting that a lot of this trailer is going to be just Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. They're not going to give you anything that you want when it comes to showing off possibly Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. A lot of it's going to have to deal with Spider-Man asking Doctor Strange and them trying to figure out if they can wipe the entire universe's knowledge of him being Spider-Man, which is something that, because of course it was at the end of Far From Home, it was shown that of him being Spider-Man, it was leaked out by the Daily Bugle and J. Jonah Jameson with the fake clip from Mysterio. So I think that that being a big part of it, I mean, they did it in the comic books. I'm 100% down for that. I think that they did that right after Civil War. One of the most pivotal moments in the Civil War comic book was Spider-Man taking off his mask and revealing his identity. Um, and then right after that, in the comic books, they had Doctor Strange wipe the entire planet's knowledge of him being Spider-Man. So I think them doing that is fine. Apparently, what's going to make everything go out of whack, Justice, is he doesn't want MJ and Ned to forget that he's Spider-Man. And
Mhm.
he is going to, I guess, interrupt Doctor Strange while he's doing that. And that's going to be the catalyst for messing everything up. And I'm like, God damn it, Peter. Is that really what we're going to do? Like, he's
Yeah,
just
like
like,
you could just tell them again
yeah,
later.
tell them again. Obviously, I'm sure they'll explain it more in the movie, but yeah, that's one of the main things that they've said is going to be in the comic. That's going to be a big part of the trailer. And then at the end, they're going to show Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, but they're not going to explain anything. They're just going to show Doc Ock. And
This is
like,
the end of the movie?
no, not the end of the movie. This is the
Oh, the end
trailer.
of the trailer. Okay.
This is the trailer that is possibly going to be shown at CinemaCon. Uh, and of course, we'll get confirmation of this once the people get out of CinemaCon and see tweet out what they saw.
Right.
But Paul from Heavy Spoilers has said that a big part of it is Doctor Strange, and these are from sources that he has. Doctor Strange trying to wipe the world's mind of Peter Parker being Spider-Man so that he doesn't have to, live in hiding. And then it's going to get messed up because Peter doesn't want MJ and Ned to forget about it at all, which, like you said, I mean, he could just be like, hey, I'm Spider-Man. I mean, maybe they'd be like, yeah, right, dude. But I think that it's kind of silly. I think it's kind of a silly
Yeah.
premise if that's going to be what breaks the multiverse.
Yeah.
But then them showing Doc Ock, of course, I'm a sucker for Doc Ock. I love Spider-Man 2. I've gone on record as saying it's my favorite comic book movie of all time. And of course, I don't like that they're all going to be in here just to be like, hey, Spider-Man has villains that hate Spider-Man. But that was last week's episode. Go watch that if you want my whole explanation on that. But Justice, what are your thoughts on these potential, already spoilers coming out about this trailer? Does it really give you, like, if this is trailer one for Spider-Man No Way Home, it kind of seems a little bit disappointing, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I just I feel like if it is that, then it would have to be some type of twist that we're not expecting.
Mm.
I don't really see I don't really see any reason that Doctor Strange would be inclined to convince the world that Peter isn't Spider-Man. Like Tony was Iron Man
Well,
for
he'll
all those
he'll
years. And
use a he'll use a spell just to help Spider-Man out. That's the thing. It'll
yeah,
be a
I mean,
spell.
that's a
Yeah.
pretty big spell. Like
Yeah.
I guess I could see it. I'm not saying that Doctor
Mhm.
Strange doesn't have the capabilities to do it.
Mhm.
It's just that when I think about you know Strange's demeanor and who he is and how he takes what he does very seriously, I don't know if he'll see Peter's request as something that is like life threatening or universe threatening to the point where he'd be like, okay, I'll erase everybody's memories. Now, of course, he could do it, but then again, if it goes awry because his best friend and his girlfriend doesn't know, again, that
Mhm.
would probably be like one of the dumber premises that Marvel has ever has put forward recently.
Yeah.
And I think that they're on such a like ascension, especially with Spider-Man. You can't give Spider-Man a bad third movie.
Mhm.
And the reason they keep pushing it back is because they obviously know it's going to be a cash cow. So
Mhm.
I feel like it kind of has to be a little bit better than that. But how about you?
I It's kind of disappointing to me just because that's just really, it seems like really stupid, and it's kind of just one of those things like, oh, Spider-Man did it again, he messed up, oh man, now we got to go fix this. All right, like I feel like that's kind of stupid if that's the real reason why everything messes up. Now of course all of these sources could be absolute BS, and this could not actually be what's going to be shown. We'll know when the actual reports do come out of what was shown in there. I love the introduction of Doc Ock. Of course, most people seeing the trailer are going to be like, "Who the hell is this guy?" I mean, unless anybody's actually, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, man with tentacle arms. Like, I'm obviously, I think a little bit like the MCU fan base. Obviously, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, that's Doc Ock," and they're really good with people being like, "Oh, who is this guy?" And they're like, "Oh, this is Doc Ock. Let me tell you who he is." Um, I
But I
think that
also
that
love the way Disney almost doesn't care sometimes, like how they
mm,
introduce He Who Remains. It was kind of like either you know
yeah,
who he is or you don't,
yeah. I thought that was a cool thing too in Loki when they were like, "He who remains," and they're like, "Oh, she's still calling me that." When He Who Remains is an actual comic book character that's
Yep.
different from Kang, but it was a cool little like thing that they threw in there because that was another thing everybody was speculating could be in the castle. They're like, "Oh, what if they do
Who
He Who
remains?
Remains?" And
Mhm.
it's like, why though? Why would they do that? That's such like an obscure character. And then I like that they threw when they said it. I was sitting on this couch behind me with my girlfriend, and I was just sitting there going, "Oh, please tell me that's not what they're doing. Please tell me it's Kang."
Some
But
old guy at the end.
yeah, right. Just sitting there, some old ass dude, like it's been me all along. Like I don't need that. But when it comes to the Spider-Man thing, uh, if we're getting Toby and Andrew, it's going to be in the last trailer. They're gonna save it for the last trailer going into the movie. With 1 month left going into the movie, they're gonna be like, "Hey, this is the final Spider-Man No Way Home trailer." And at the end, just like they're showing Doc Ock in the first one, at the end you're gonna see other Spider-Man, and you're gonna flip your shit. Everyone's gonna buy their tickets, and that movie could be the catalyst to make almost $1 billion again, just for all the Marvel fans to go
I
out
could
and
see
see
it.
it. To be like, holy shit, 3 Spider-Man. Like I know I'll go see that movie 3 times in theaters just to get that, like, give them as much like revenue as possible
To
because
keep giving us movies. We
yeah,
need good
dude,
movies, Marvel.
like if they're going to do the theater only strategy, that's the thing that I think has killed like the Suicide Squad that came out was people went if they went and saw it in theaters, well, you don't have to go see it in theaters again to see it. Just go on HBO Max. It's right there. I know I watched it on HBO Max because I was
Me
like, I
too.
already paid for HBO Max, so I'm just gonna watch it on there instead of spending $30 to go watch it in the movie theater. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, my movie theater around here is actually really, really nice and has reclining seats and everything. It's awesome.
I love
But
the movie theaters, but I
yeah,
woke up at 6 a.m. on my couch and watched The Suicide Squad.
yeah, right.
That's awesome. Like,
Like I love that a movie that I've been waiting for, I can wake up in the morning and be like, all right, let's go. Like I don't gotta be like, no, my show time's at 7 o'clock. I gotta wait all
exactly.
day.
Pay
No,
$57 for popcorn.
yeah, boy, I'd be sneaking in snacks. What are we talking about? I got them cookie dough bites in my girlfriend's purse.
Very
But
smart.
no, the
Very
only
smart.
thing, the only things I'll buy at the movies is a drink. I'll
The
buy like
slushy.
a
Yeah,
large,
me too.
yeah, I'll buy like a large Mr. Pibb. That's what I get every single time I go. But no, when it comes to Spider-Man, I really I really don't know what to think of the reports. I really hope that the trailer comes out and it isn't just that. I hope they give us a little bit more, keep it a little bit interesting, and I really hope that the date remains the same. But what does everybody else think? What do you think of these reports that have come out from sources? According to Paul from Heavy Spoilers, I got to make sure I put that out there because I don't want people saying, "Hey, that guy said that his sources." Like I gotta say that, hey, these sources that we have said this is what's going to be shown at the CinemaCon. So what does everybody think about that? Make sure to let us know down below. And what do you think of the Spider-Man movie coming up? And do you actually think Toby and Andrew Garfield will be in the movie as Spider-Man? Drop it down below.
I have a question for you,
Justice.
Jake, real
Yeah, go ahead, man.
quick. Excuse me. To move back into kind of what we were talking about, what if
Yeah,
Thanos? When we looked at Nebula, Nebula was objectively beautiful for a cartoon,
yeah,
right? Although she was missing the eye,
yeah.
we didn't see Gamora at all.
Mm-mm.
So we know that Thanos took Gamora from her home planet when she was a little
Mm-hmm.
girl, because we saw in Infinity War. And we know that Peter was abducted as a child. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
not Peter. T'Challa in this was abducted as a
Mhm.
child. So Why do you think there were no multiple body parts for Nebula and no Gamora at all? What do you think
I
happened?
I think Gamora still exists in the universe. I think the big thing that they didn't do is, a lot of the plot lines like Rocket and Groot and, Gamora, they weren't in it because there wasn't a hit out on Peter Quill, like in the movie, that had these people going after him to,
No
them
jail.
eventually. Yeah, yeah, in jail. So I think that she's still out there. I don't know exactly how, Nebula doesn't have the multiple body parts thing. Maybe Thanos got turned earlier than
Right. That's what I
yeah,
was.
maybe a little bit earlier, and she still had the eye thing, but not, all of the parts. So maybe T'Challa got to him a little bit earlier so that he didn't have all the parts and changing up on her and stuff like that. So I think see, that's the problem with these what if episodes is there's all these other questions that are kind of just out there. Like it's like, okay, if this is the what if, then what happened to this person? Or what about this? Why didn't we see this? That's why I think they're doing a season 2 because I think that they're going to revisit some of these episodes to tie up things that weren't
Mhm.
exactly explained. So, yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, they
Any
definitely need a lot of loose ends to tie up.
Yeah. But Justice, I mean, there it is. An hour and 1 minutes. Episode 2 of the Maximum Marvel podcast. This again, reminder, this will be the last pre-recorded episode of the Maximum Marvel Pod. Every single time you will be able to catch us live when we are doing this. So you can ask your own questions about this stuff. And of course, I'm always going to say make sure to drop your comments down below because I do clip this out and I want the people that watch on replay to be able to, get their opinions for certain topics as well. So yeah, dude, Maximum Marvel episode 2. This is going to be a reoccurring thing. I think that obviously these drop every single Wednesday, which is a good thing because that's
What
I'll
if
get that's what if day. Well, that's like drop day. That's where all the Marvel shows are getting dropped now. So I think that it's like the perfect time to put out something because that's like day one of being like, hey, let's review this. So no, dude, this is awesome. Anybody who does watch this, this is I absolutely thank like all of you guys. Like, of course, this is on a channel that used to be mine where I talked about just Dragon Ball stuff, but now we're talking about superhero stuff and everything in between. We didn't talk about anime, but we did talk a little bit before the stream. And if we're live and people want to talk about anime, we can talk about it as well.
I'm
Um,
definitely down.
yeah, my Hero Academia getting a live action movie is something that's crazy, and I don't know how to feel about it. But again, thank you everybody for listening to this week's episode of the Maximum Marvel Podcast right here on YouTube on the Maximum Marvel Pod. Make sure to subscribe and comment and like and do all that stuff because that is what pushes this stuff and makes the community grow even larger than it already is. So again, thank you guys. It's been Jake. It's been Justice. This is the Maximum Marvel Pod, and we will see you guys next week in a flash.